We're going to go straight into Samir now, who is the liaison. He's a lived experience work employee for the Liaison and Diversion service at the NHS in Birmingham and Solihull. You all right, Samir? Take yourself off mute.
Yeah, I took myself on mute. Can everybody hear me? Yeah.
Yeah.
So my name is Samir from the Liaison and Diversion service, and I've got lived experience in the criminal justice system. Before I put my power slide or PowerPoint up, just want to share some of my experience, how I came about in the criminal justice system, to give you a bit of more context of my lifestyle in the criminal justice system from the age of 8 years of age and then to the age of 35 years of age. And I was a career criminal in and out of the criminal justice system, spent multiple years of my life in custody and in community sentences. And then I also had substance misuse issues as well along the way, and I've been in recovery for a little while now, basically abstinence-based recovery. So what I'm trying to get at is that I was a career criminal that changed his life around for the greater good, to help individuals that are coming out of the criminal justice system, to give them support that they need and understand, like what Gareth was talking about, the language that some professionals may use. We come from a language of the criminal kind of way of looking at things, or from the criminal justice background, and the language is a lot more different than what a normal professional will talk about. So that's a bit of context of my lived experience in the criminal justice system. So so my topic today basically is the power of lived experience in shaping the criminal justice system. What I mean by that is how is it a vital component to service delivery, and I want to touch on a few points regarding that. So like basically, again, I started as a volunteer. I got employed through an organization called Shelter as a paid peer mentor for the Liaison and Diversion service. So when we first came into employment, it was told basically there's a less likelihood of you getting employed directly from Birmingham and Solihull Mental Health Trust, and you might have to look at other ways when your contract ends. So basically, I was on a contract for 2 years, and it was more about a development role than just a normal support role. So, but the peer mentor kind of element of it was, so the national team called it peer support workers. We, as the lead worker peer mentor service, called it peer mentor paid staff that were working with individuals with complex needs in and out of custody and court environments into the community. So basically, background a bit on the project and the peer worker framework for the Liaison and Diversion service. So Revolving Door Agency put something together for the Liaison and Diversion service to embed peer support in their pathways. So there were two pathways. One was in Wiltshire and one was in Birmingham. And the commissioners at the time is on the meeting today as well, Kevin Effernan, didn't really go with that kind of model, and they went with the lead worker peer mentor model in Birmingham because it was a model that was created by a lived experience members, and it was about the kind of roles that they're doing, and it was like quite a successful model. So they went with the Birmingham model and chose the lead worker peer mentor model. And then there was a evaluation done on the two models and what works and what don't work. And basically, I want to give you a social cost analysis around it. So basically, the overall kind of judgment that they made, that the saving cost to the state and an organisation, that it was in the value of £1.04 to £3.58, which there was a central estimate of £2.28, and they come to a conclusion that it was £2.28. So basically, there's another breakdown of the total cost. What I'm trying to show is that the power and control of lived experience shaping delivery is testament to what the report says here. So if anyone who wants to read the report in full, there'll be a link into the feed that will give you a bit more context around what was the report entailed and what it was about. So basically, they come to the terminology of that it needs to be a hybrid model. And what they mean by that is there's a coordinator, a peer support coordinator that has a pool of volunteers. And the Birmingham model is that you've got paid peer mentors that carry caseloads and work with complex individuals. So there were two different models. So the cost analysis basically around is if you invest £600,000, value created was 950 grand. So you can see the difference, and you can see how much of a benefit it is to the system in the sense of having lived experience as a vital component for service deliverers. And the ratio was between £1 to £2. And there's further slides in if you look at the thing of where it goes from £500,000. If you estimate it to £3.58, that takes it up to 1.9 million. I'm trying to get at. So you can imagine the kind of the input that lived experience bring to service provision. And then while being a part of the Liaison and Diversion service, that we found, and the Commissioner's Health and Justice team got Health and Education to commission a bit a work around skills for health for the Liaison and Diversion career competency framework. And basically what that was about was individuals coming into employment from a voluntary position, moving on to a peer support worker, peer/peer mentor, and then support workers and service lead. So the competency was designed around the complexity of the individuals that you work around, and the peer kind of lived experience kind of element to the role was that due to the complexities of the individuals working in Birmingham, for an example, it was a fast turnover, and it's like you have to think on the spot and get the relevant support put into place really quick, because these individuals that were coming in the criminal justice system were kind of frequent flyers in and out of custody, in and out of court, community orders, or ending up in prison and stuff like that. And on the recruitment process and the competencies that were designed, it was for individuals to have that progression route to progress in their careers. And the Liaison and Diversion Service, Birmingham Solihull Mental Health Trust, has demonstrated that, and I want to touch on a bit on that. So I first started as a volunteer with the Substance Misuse Service, moved on to became a peer mentor for the Liaison and Diversion Service on an honorary contract with Shelter, and now I moved on to work for the Birmingham Solihull Mental Health Trust. And I've got a criminal record, ain't really that one of them 1 or 2 kind of criminal convictions. I've got a long criminal conviction from starting from the age of 8. So you can imagine how kind of dark that looks. But for the Birmingham Liaison and Diversion Service to take me as an employee in the trust, it was a kind of a system change in itself, and buying into the ethos of the value-based kind of what lived experience bring to the service. And that's an important factor for anyone that wants to have that software that's starting as a volunteer, that they can easily or successfully progress. And the Liaison and Diversion Service has demonstrated that. And there'll be a link for that as well. So if anyone wants to look at the skills for health career competency framework, and myself and one of my colleagues is on here, Jay Arnold, participated in 3 days of workshops, trying to make sure that we don't lose the ethos of the lived experience kind of element of it. And at that time, decisions nearly got made that we'll take the peer mentor out of it, but losing the old objective of what peer support is and career progression. So it's been an important factor really for service delivery for the Liaison and Diversion Service, and they've kept to the ethos. And I work on a prison project now that I help initiate with Health and Justice Commissioner Kevin Heffernan. So you can easily see that everybody's got the same value approach. And what I'm trying to demonstrate is that any services in the criminal justice system, like services like the NHS, can influence change like this. Why can't the criminal justice system as a whole make that change? And we've got experience in doing so. And then this is the last slide I'm going to finish on this. So myself and Jay, alongside with Kevin Heffernan, we went to Health and Education and been to a meeting. And basically there was a professional sitting around the table and a few service users or lived experience, because lived experience is a wide concept and it's quite fluid. So whatever that lived experience means to that individual. But myself and Jay, we come from a lived experience of the criminal justice background, substance misuse, offending, mental health, all sorts of kind of conflicts going on within ourselves in the system. I sat there and they were talking about 25,000 word document that they're going to produce around how to implement lived experience in the services. So we put an idea to them. Look, we'll simplify it for you. We'll put it into podcast format for you. And so basically, we'll give you 10 podcasts on how to employ lived experience in the criminal justice system by utilizing the best practice for the liaison and diversion service delivery, and how important it's been for other peer workers to come. And at the moment, there's 7 lived experience members part of the liaison and diversion team with criminal justice backgrounds. And I must say, started with myself and another colleague again, Jay. So basically, I want to touch on 10 key points. I'm going to finish on this, on what this training package was delivered for, what's come out of it since then. So basically, the first one is about personal development before coming into peer support and being ready to be employed. The second one is coming into employment with third sector on honorary contracts with the NHS and the importance of co-production and 50-50 relationships. The third one is the training of third sector and the NHS. Fourth, slow transitions into caseloads and weekly case meetings and the importance of it to reinforce collaboration and different perceptions. The fifth one is commissioners and management and the transition to management structure and following the ethos. Also, the impact on service provision with peer support or lived experience members are part of the team. The sixth one is commissioners and third sector management and the preparation to employ peer support workers with the NHS staff. And the seventh, this is the important part, because we're delivering a service to service users. So, and the seventh one is the voice of the service user and how peer support impacted on their lives and what are the benefits. 8 is service user involvement and the benefits. So these individuals start on interview processes, getting involved in national work, with health and justice teams, revolving doors. And I worked with one of these guys, and so did one of the Jays that participated in this. And they actually, one of them was on Parliament TV, and one of them was doing some national work with the Reconnect. So that just shows testament how lived experience impacted service users to make some changes, influence change in other places of the services or the system per se. And the last two are the ninth one, future development of peer support nationally and regionally, and having lived experience as a vital component to shape service system change. And the last one is career frameworks and progression in substantial NHS workers without discrimination. So basically what I'm trying to get at is the power and control of lived experience shaping services. I'm talking about an NHS service that's made that kind of change, and we've impacted that by being passionate, by being persistent and committed to the cause. And the committed to the cause is that we want to influence lived experience in the whole criminal justice pathways. And then if anybody wants it's going to be put into the feeders, or my email address is going to be there. If anyone wants us to deliver any training to them on the workshops that we've created from, so basically out of the 10 podcasts, we've created workshops, 3-day training packages, what myself and Jay will be delivering in the new year. So if anyone wants to make any contact with myself, and my email address will be in the feed, and we can put some training together for staff and stuff like that. And then the last bit is that this has been, for me to be involved in the network of the New Need Network, because I believe in the whole ethos of lived experiences leading the way and shaping services, and working collectively together to make that change. And I think that's an important factor. And I feel we can only do it if we're all doing it together. So I think the co-production element of it is an important factor as well. And we can't do this on lived experience alone, cannot do this on their own. And that's just my opinion on it. And I feel that we have to do it collectively. So I want to thank everybody that's been involved in my journey, especially Jay, Kevin Heffernan, Neil and Bino, Kathy. Do you know what I mean? So I actually really acknowledge, and they've helped me shape me as a professional as well.